Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to day one, track one of the World Summit AI, which is hosted by the beautiful Doha, Qatar this year. My name is Daniel McRae. I am head of partner services for a company called Adaptimi. We are specialists in a very niche application of AI known as adaptive personalized learning. And I've been working in AI for learning for over a decade. So frankly, long before it was cool. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you today to our speakers. We will be bringing up 4 different speakers to talk to you about exciting and interesting innovations in the world of AI for learning to onboarding to upskilling and reskilling. So we're very excited to have you here. One small note of housekeeping. We'll only have a few moments for Q&A at the end of the session, so I'd encourage you, if there's something that you're really curious to learn more about or a question that you want to pose, have it ready, and as soon as the speakers are done, you can put up your hand and I'll come to you. So, without further ado, I am delighted to introduce our first speaker of the day. If you could join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Kevin Jones, who is director at the IU Columbus Center for Teaching and Learning, and also associate professor of management in the Division of Business at Indiana University. As you can see, his title is Augmenting, Upskilling and Reskilling, Building Your AI-Ready Workforce. Dr. Jones.
Assalamu alaikum. Pardon my accent. Well, there's an AI draft, okay, of me. Doesn't it look just like me? Well, let's continue. This topic here is a topic which I have had the opportunity to talk with many people about because I don't have a formal role where I'm responsible for it, which gives me a lot of opportunity to create opportunities for people to learn. So, this topic here is, guess I gotta do it myself, right? Augmenting, upskilling, and reskilling, building your AI-ready workforce. We talk a lot about AI is here, AI is present, AI is everywhere, okay? But have we thought about what it takes to be an AI-ready organization? It is significant change and transformation. So, here are some things that I'm suggesting to people as I talk to them about it. All right. Partnership. Leadership needs a partnership. Now, you say, why did I put that with strategy? Well, as we go further, you have to partner with employees by first having a clear, defined strategy, okay? And with that, you have to think about how AI is part of that strategy. It has to be a central component of your strategy. It can't be something you set aside. It can't be something that's, okay, it's in a department. It has to be fully integrated into your strategic direction. And here's something that will stop you from succeeding in the AI integration. Management. Now, I'm a associate professor of management, okay? I teach management. And I've worked in organizations where we tried to create transformation. And you know where the great barrier often is? People say it's in employees. No, it isn't. It's the management. Because if management does not buy into what you're doing, it makes it very difficult to get employees to buy into it. So, what we have to do is make sure that leadership working with management aligns the strategy and creates meaning for the strategy so that they will buy in and believe this is necessary. What are we talking about? We're talking about AI must be part of every aspect of the organization. That's transformation, is it not? Let's keep going here. So when we're talking about this, partnering with people in the organization, this alignment says that what are we working on? We're working on linking it to, yes, short-term objectives, but more focused on the long-term objective. We cannot rush this. I heard a speaker talk today about this, and I've said it there was a podcast I was on, and they asked me what is a important component of moving forward with AI, and I said, patience. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Patience? We have to move fast. We have to do things right now. We can't slow down. Well, wrong, because we are experimenting with AI. We do not have the answer with AI. We don't know how it's going to transform work, jobs, roles, etc. So we can't run fast with it, but we can have a little patience and learn from our experiments. Because as we experiment, as we gain more information, we develop some best practices. See, I'm always leery of people that are saying, here are all the best practices for AI. I said, since when? Since when? When did these best practices get created? Because we're all in the mode of learning and developing and growing. All right, so these are some of the benefits, if you will, of why we want to engage in strategic alignment. Now, let's talk about this workforce, AI-ready workforce. And again, more drawings from AI, right? Why not? Let's use the tools. This is part of what leaders must do. Leaders cannot be distinct from these tools and not know how they work themselves. Leaders have to engage with the tools as well. And managers have to engage with the tools so that then when you want employees to engage with the tools, you are speaking to them on an even par, an even level. You're not talking about something that you heard about or you went to a conference and talked about, but it's something that you actually can sit down with them and say, here's how I'm using it. What are you doing with it? And then you may learn more from them. And I'm not just explaining this from a perspective of something I heard about. I've engaged with these tools for several years now, and now here is what's the benefit for me. Because people recognize that I'm not just talking about these things, I actually use these tools, they come to me and ask questions. And one senior leader called me to her office and said, I want you to explain how you are using it. Why was that important? Because she was trying to think about the strategic implications of AI in the workplace. So I was able to show her, here's what I'm doing, here's how some other people are doing it, here's what people are learning from it, here's how it possibly could align with our strategic objectives. And she took it from there. Once again, I don't have a formal role, but by my learning about these tools and having conversations and collaborating with others, we are able to develop some sense of capability. Okay? So, employees, this is what we want, AI-ready workforce, employees skilled in AI tools, has to be leadership, management, and employees. And this is what we all want to get to. Yes? We want to have some form of innovation. And yes, we want it to do something positive for our organization. Many organizations are struggling because they've invested in AI and they're thinking, well, okay, we spent all this money, when's the return going to come? Okay? Remember that word I said earlier? Patience, experimentation. You can't just put money into it and expect results to come right away. That's not how it works. We have to learn together. So the focus of what I'm trying to drive at is we need to develop our capability of our organization to learn with these tools, to begin to identify ways to innovate, ways to grow the capability of our organizations aligned with our strategic objectives. Making any sense? Okay, let me push this button here and move to the next. Now, you've heard this many times before, I'm sure, but you also have to have an organizational culture that supports AI. Now, what is culture? What is culture? Well, as I have had the opportunity to travel into multiple countries, and soon I'll be in India. Guess what? The cultures are different, okay? There's certain things that are more important in some places than others. Some things are less important in some places than others. Okay, think of an organization. Same. Not all organizations are the same. Not all teams within organizations are the same. Not all leadership is the same. So organizations have to say, all right, what is it that is most important to us? What is it that we value? And now let's take those values and align those things. I use that word a lot. Align those things with AI. Your values aligned with AI. Is that hard? Possibly, if you are not clear in what your organizational values are. Okay? Very important to identify those values, align them with our desires to integrate AI into our organization. So, embracing that culture, awareness, education, AI workshops, training, encourage, foster a mindset of experimentation, adaptability, collaboration, break silos. How about that? Break silos. I'm sitting there looking at the time and saying, I'm going to have to really move fast, so I'm going to move a little faster. Hang on. How many people know that employees fear AI? Okay? Yeah. Why do we fear it? Because A, it's different, it's change, and you've heard it, it's going to replace all of us. We're not going to be needed. Who needs us when you have AI, right? Well, first thing, let's reject that right now. Why? Because AGI is not here, A. Super intelligence, AI super intelligence, ASI, it's not here, right? So what we have to deal with is the reasonable probability that my job might change with AI. So how do we work with people on that? Well, partially it involves communicating. Talk about it. Share about how our roles are changing. Maybe even use the example of how your role is changing. And it does not have to be a bad thing, especially if it's reducing some of the work we don't want to do already. If it's increasing our productivity. If it's improving our performance. These are not bad things, but we have to talk about it. We have to be willing to listen to the concerns as well. And yes, engage employees in the process. Don't just tell people about it. They have to be actively engaged with the change, okay? Now, and this is what the whole talk is about. Support, provide tools and resources for their adaptation. That's the augmentation, upskilling, reskilling. All right, go real fast now. There we go. So, we also have to realize that our processes will change as well. How we do the work will change. And so in that, we can see some benefits, yes? We also can highlight this is what occurs. And then finally, we can go over here and say, okay, perhaps we do have to structure our organizations differently to maximize the benefit of these new tools. And so, I give a long framework, which I won't walk through, but there's, my framework, there's 100 people or more, maybe thousands of people with frameworks. Create a framework. What is the best way to integrate AI into your organization? It is not one thing, it's multiple steps and stages, right? And it does, in all cases, involve number four. Number four, that's the one. Implement training and development, augment, upskill, reskill, or maybe bring someone in to help with that. So this here is the winding to the close before I get to questions, believe it or not. These are the three things we're doing. Why? Because people have to be supported as they transition. We can't tell people to just change. You just need to change, right? You just need to get with AI. You just need to learn it. That doesn't work, does it? Doesn't work. You have to provide a means, a way, and create this word again, meaning for people. What does it mean to have an AI augmented workplace? What does that mean? What does that mean for me? Remember, in all change, change is about, with people, me. Yeah, you can talk about how good it is for the corporation. You can talk about how good it is for, our shareholders, our stakeholders, all that. But you know what? I really don't care. Because I'm more interested in how does this affect me. So let's work with that. Let's not see that as a bad thing. Let's say, okay, how can we make this work for you? And how can we make it, keyword, and how can we make it work for the organization as well? Work for you and the organization, that's the proverbial win-win. So upskilling, that says training people to improve their collaboration. How many people know that we all have to work with AI now? Okay, so that means we have to develop that capability to work with it. That requires us to do upskilling. And then finally, reskilling, and that's the one that makes people nervous. Reskilling, because reskilling may mean that your role will change. But let's start with augmenting. Let's start there. Let's give people an opportunity. Don't jump to reskilling. Okay, your job is now changed. Okay, let's go. No, don't start there. Start with letting people become familiar with this and realize the opportunities it provides. And then that's more of the same, which I was talking about. Enhance the current roles, equip for new roles, because new roles are coming. Don't try to say, oh, it's all going to remain the same. We're going to add AI. No, it's all going to change. But we don't want to just emphasize that. We want people to be involved in that change. And yes, finally, while we're doing that, we can do this too. We can also start preparing for what's coming next. We don't know exactly what's coming next, but why not engage your employees to begin to visualize what's coming next? And so this is something which I'm doing a lot of my research on. It's a matter of creating a set of competencies that you think you may need to have. Each organization should have a competency model. This is my particular approach to it. And next, augmenting actions. Have a set of augmenting actions. Think through this, that how do we augment the work? Have a set of upskilling actions. How do we upskill the work? And last but not least, you can guess what that one is. What are our reskilling actions? All right. In summary, we have to move forward. We are moving forward, whether we want to or not. But don't forget to bring the employees along. That's it. That's the summary. Some books for you to look at if you're so interested in looking at different books. I'm a college professor, of course. I look at books, articles, etc. So those are some things that you may find interesting. And then last but not least, before I go to questions, well, that is it. Do you have any questions? There's a question right there.
When do you think the next AI winter is coming and all this will be obsolete?
Well, how about this? I don't think it's going to be an AI winter. It's going to be a steady decline of temperatures. I'm from a cooler temperature. See, what happens with us is, okay, August, September, October, November, December. So I don't think it's going to be like a winter that's going to pop in. We're talking about change. The change is, and I won't say winter. I'm going to change it and say AI summer. It's going to heat things up, okay, where we're going to have a little bit more urgency. Right now, we don't have the same urgency that we will have down the road, if that answers your question. Question there.
Very quickly to add to what you've just said, there's not going to be any AI winter because of quantum computing. The world has changed. Secondly, I did not hear you talk about capacity of a company to the AI ready, because capacity includes finance, which is very key.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's true. Well, the bottom line is we tend to fixate on that, okay? We tend to fixate on the other factors versus people. There's people, processes, technology, and economics as part of it. And our capacity is built on those things. However, we often say what is the most important, but we often focus on the economics. So somewhere, I'm not saying it's less important, but we have to equalize those things. So as we are looking at the financial resources it takes for us to make these changes, we also have to look at, okay, what does it take to make the changes with people? So that's my perspective. Go a question at the back.
Thank you for the beautiful presentation. I have a question. If you can help us from a practical approach to embark on this journey, knowing that the current projects and tasks are going to remain there and the workflow is going to remain there. So how we can, embark on this journey according to your steps, knowing that the work that we're currently doing is still have to happen.
Yeah, start small with augmentation. Start small. And while I heard someone mention something today which I didn't agree with, and that is we shouldn't use it for certain things, well, we shouldn't define how we can use it. We have to give people the opportunity to experience. And so when we say start small, all right, let's say you can now find in your email things using generative AI. You can summarize your email. Wow, that's a win. Maybe you create a PowerPoint using generative AI. Wow, that's a win. And as people see these benefits, then it helps them to fight against all the negatives. It's ruining the water, it's ruining the environment, etc. That's true. We can understand both things at the same time. But how many people know that we're going to still use it regardless? Okay? So since we're going to use it, we have to balance recognizing the potential negatives with the potential positives. Because as an employee, that's what I want to see. I want to see the positives. What can it do for me? Does that answer your question?
So it just remains for me to thank Dr. Jones for an excellent presentation. Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.